Okay, so now I'm going to take you through disabling startup items. This could be a great way to speed things up on your computer, especially when you're starting it up. So one of the first ways to go about this is going through the task manager. It's actually the most recommended way to disable your startup items. To get there, simple Control Shift Escape. There we go. Other ways to get to it on your bar at the bottom, you can right click and go to Task Manager. So there's a couple of different ways to get there. Now, I like to order these by name. And then you can go through and basically kind of see what is going that doesn't need to go, or what's using too much CPU, too much of the memory, disk, etc. You can see them all at the top. And you can click on each one to arrange them by that. So if I click on the CPU, it's going to put everything in order by what's taking the CPU up the most. Same as memory and disk. Now, this changes and fluctuates a lot, so you will see all those different programmings moving all around. So putting it on the name makes it easier for myself to take a look and go through. So what we can do here is just kind of take a look around. What do we see that we don't need, that we can get rid of, or at least stop from starting up as soon as we start our computer? More than likely, things like the Dell Optimizer. Now we can end that task here. Now it's done. And look, it came right back. So there are a few things that kind of restart, and then you have to kind of see what is causing it to keep coming up. So there may be a factor of uninstalling it to keep it from starting back up again, which more than likely would be what we need to do here. Take it through here. We have McAfee. The security software is another Windows process that can eat up a lot of resources. So this one right here, not really doing too much currently. But again, it's something I don't actually use. So I would need to uninstall this. It tells me, hey, you have another program on here you don't need. Get rid of it. And then if I really want to see what's using the most space up in my memory, let's look at the top of the list here, anti-malware service executable. And then our Dell Optimizer, Microsoft 360 Copilot, the Service Shell, Dell Instrumentation, Microsoft Edge, and the Task Manager we're currently using, Desktop Windows Manager. So there's plenty of these things we can't shut down. And we don't want to. It'll cause some issues with our system that we do not want. So basically things that are safe to disable would be any kind of third-party apps. That don't need to auto run. Things like Spotify, Steam, Discord, OneDrive, if you don't use it, iTunes Helper, Adobe Updater, Zoom, etc. Those are the things that you'd want to kind of disable that startup. Also, updater services, Java Update, Adobe Reader Update, Google Update. These can be run manually. You can update them when you want to and not have them constantly running in the background. Cloud apps you don't use every session, Dropbox, OneDrive, iCloud. If you're not constantly using them, disable them from starting up on the beginning. And things like printers and scanner helpers from HP and Epson and Canon. All these things just kind of get rid of. Now, sometimes you can disable the antivirus suites. Like I said, if you're not actually using those, maybe it came with your computer and it's just bloatware. Cloud storage apps that you actually use, leave them around. VPN clients, if you don't need them to auto start, delete them from being started as soon as you start your computer. All right, things you don't want to disable: Windows Security Defender processes, system services like Windows Audio, Network, etc. Drivers for GPU, NVIDIA, AMD, Intel, touchpads, Wi-Fi adapters, any kind of backup sync tools that you rely on. So if you use OneDrive as like your primary storage, don't disable it. All right. Only disable it if you don't use it all the time. Now, there are some things that start up that are not here in the task manager, but you'll find this in the startup folder, which thankfully doesn't get used as often. So to get to the startup folder, it's the Windows icon key along with the R, pulls up your little run box, and then you can type in shell : startup. And this is going to pull up any programs that are in this folder that will start when your computer starts. So if there's programs in here, usually third-party apps, we'll shuffle them in there, and all of a sudden you have 12 different programs starting as soon as you start your computer. Here's clean, great, good to see. Unless it's something you really want on there, when you bring it up, just take it out. Okay, now there's also the settings app. So if you push the Windows icon and the I, it's going to pull up. And then you want to toggle unwanted app off. So go into your apps, installed apps, or startup, and then you can toggle them right off. Microsoft 365, don't need it to come on. Microsoft Edge, I don't need it to start up when the computer starts. OneDrive, don't need that either. Windows security notification icon, I don't need the icon notifications. Don't need the Xbox. So now I've cleaned up some startup tools, so when it comes on, it's going to be a little cleaner. Now, another thing you can get into would be the Windows Registry. So it's Windows key R, type in REGEDIT for read edit. Give it permission. Now, changing things in here is dangerous, okay? Don't change things in here unless you know what you're doing. So things that you would go to would be like HK local machine, software, Microsoft Windows, current version. And sometimes it's just faster. So then looking for the run file. Yep. So these would be, those current version run files. These would be things that would start up at the beginning. And you could take these out. But you want to be careful. Again, don't do anything with the registry if you're not familiar with it, if you're not used to it. And before making any changes in your registry, always do a backup of it so that you know it's good to go. You can always go back to it. Or you may get to the point where you've just broken it enough, but you have to just restart everything. All right, last one. Okay, we can go into System Services via the services.msc. That would be the Windows icon and the R for the run menu again, and type in services.msc. And that's going to pull up your services window. Now, that's one way to get to it. Myself, I prefer just clicking on this Windows icon key, the start button, and then typing in service. And then enter and pulling up. That's my favorite. But here's another way. And all these things in here, what you can do is you click on the startup type. All these listed as automatic. These services start as soon as the computer comes on. So these are programs you're not going to see come on. It's going to be in the background, but it's still going to be taken away from that computer process. So what do you not need? Take a look through it. There's plenty of things that you absolutely will need. Most of the things in here are not safe to take away. Okay? Know what you're doing. Only remove or turn off the ones that you know you don't actually need. So if I went down through here, what would I see? Everything everything so far I see, unless I'm missing something, is something I would want to go ahead and come on. So we're good here. But it could have been something like, let's say, the net logon was set to always start out. And that's not something I need. If you're curious about what some of these are, you can see these in the description here. You can always double click, change it to manual, disable it if you don't want it at all. If you don't want it to come on immediately when your computer comes on, but still come on, you can do the delayed start. It will wait for everything else to come up and then it will come up. So that is, basically everywhere you can go to and turn to in the Windows to start taking things away that won't come on when you restart your computer. There are third-party tools out there, apps like Auto Runs for Windows that gives you full visibility into like all the startup items and let you disable them. So if you want to go that route and use a program to do it, more than welcome. These are all just advice sessions, and hopefully I've helped you. Hopefully you've gained a little bit more knowledge on how to turn some of these things off. And if you like what you see, click follow, and I'll see you next time.